Are you recording?
All right, yeah, I started.
Alright, so today we're in this lore video. We're going to be talking about Tomb Kings. You know, everybody's really hyped about them because they're going to be in Warhammer 2. And I'm fucking excited as shit. You know, they live in the desert. They primarily can live off of eating bugs, scarabs. So it's a lot like my life. What do you guys think about them?
Well, from my lore perspective, I'm a 45-year-old man. I live with my mom, and my opinion on it is they're dead jihadists. You know, when they say you go with Allah, they say you come back a spooky, scary skeleton. So, I want to talk today about Cetra. You know, Cetra the Imperishable.
Oh, of course.
So that's a bad guy right there.
Yeah, he does not rule. He serves. You know, he serves it up good and hot, fresh
Yeah.
kiss.
He's not the baddest guy though. Like, he's alright, I reckon. Like, for a bad guy.
All right, well, you can get right out of this recording, all right, because he's the best.
Yeah, dude. I remember his COD record was like 5.6 on Rust.
Now, I find it interesting that their Tomb Kings are also known as the Priest Kings, and that's, as you said, because of their devotion to Allah, peace be upon him.
Yes, peace be upon him. All respect to Allah, praise his feet.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, like when you're a spooky, scary skelly man, you have to do 3 prayers a day to get the ward save of plus 20 magical defense. So that's why they're really better than dwarves and chaos dwarves put together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
And
think skellies have aspirations?
yeah, they have aspirations.
Absolutely.
Like, do they have life goals? Do you think they have...
You can't
They
have
feel
life
love.
goals if you're dead. Got you there, Todd.
Well, actually, they're not dead. They're just immortal. You
Yes,
puny
they're
mortals
immortal.
wouldn't understand that. Now, we're going to talk about the founding of Nekahara. It was founded by, I have my notes in front of me, Sigmar Heldenhammer.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was known for...
Spooky Sigma, though.
Spooky Sigmar. This
Spooky
was after
Sigmar,
he
yeah.
founded the Empire. He actually
Yeah,
died.
he became Spooky Sigma.
Mm-hmm. So yes, when Sigmar died, he became Sigmar the Imperishable. Okay, and now stay with me now. Okay, I've been writing down this 20-page essay, but I'm just gonna give you the gist of it, guys. You know, I'm a really heavy-hearted lore perspective person. You know, and so basically Sigmar, when he died,
Yes.
he went up and prayed to Slanesh. When he prayed to Slanesh, Slanesh was like, "Oh, I hate pure humans that like to change over. I don't like that loyalty, cuz." So he made him the opposite of what Celeste represents, and he made him death incarnate.
Exactly. And as we know, Slanesh was the ancient Nekaharan. That's the ancient empire. He was their god of snakes.
Yes.
So
And I'll pull up a picture of his model right now.
Talk about the relation between, speaking of the relation of the Tomb Kings and the vampire counts.
Yes.
Both of them being relatively spooky and relatively
Scary.
scaly.
And they're both
scaly
best
nations.
known for their range strength.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
Their infantry corps is mostly living units of
Yeah,
Empire.
but yeah, vampire counts have the Sylvanian levies, and Tomb Kings have
Araby.
Hekar and Arabian desert folk.
Absolutely. And some of their empire actually went all the way down to the Southlands. Nagash, not responsible for it. Cetra, yes, responsible for it. So actually, Nagash was the first ever vampire, invented necromancy, and he was actually Cetra's brother, Cetra being the all-powerful pharaoh of the Tomb Kings that we still worship to this day.
Yeah.
Hello?
Was he Sigma in a past life, or is this?
I
Sigma?
think now. See, there's a lot of debate among scholars here. Some say that Sigmar and Cetra are the same person, but are different translations.
Like similar names.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Exactly.
They're transgenders.
That's exactly what that means. So because of Cetra and Nagash's falling out, do you know about the falling out that happened between them?
Oh yeah.
Well, I think I should go over it for our listeners here. So Cetra and
This is pretty
Nagash.
deep lore.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like very, very early in the books.
This is Seventh Circle lore. Like,
Absolutely.
it's Outer Rim lore.
Nagash and Cetra, being brothers, they left. They were kicked out of the original area where their parents were from, and they still worshipped the gods of Nekahara, even though they had been kicked out because one of their parents had a forbidden fruit of some kind. But they were both still worshiping their gods, and they would offer sacrifices to their gods of like burning meat. Right? You guys know this.
Yes.
And you see, Nagash was very jealous of Cetra because Cetra would burn the finest meat for their gods. So one day, Nagash killed Cetra, actually inventing murder, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
I always wonder about that because if, Nagash was the first person to ever kill anybody after getting out of the Garden of Eden, how did he know it was bad?
That, murder never would have been invented in Warhammer.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So how was it a sin if he didn't know? He just thought, why did he stop moving?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then Cetra
it's also known that Cetra has the best class of clans race, giving plus 30% attack rate on skeleton units.
Which is all these units.
Mm-hmm.
So that's plus 30%.
Shit.
And if you enter my special code on Classic Clans called 315 Cetra the Imperishable, you get plus 30% damage resistance to your clone troopers too.
And that code also translates over to our page on MeUndies.com. MeUndies, when you want your underwear to be as imperishable as Cetra.
Yes, exactly.
And that was not a paid advertisement, folks.
Now, the question
yes.
that I think gets raised up in the lore is where do all the skellies actually come from? Because the Tomb Kings have been around for millennia.
Ages.
So there's a big theory that Sigma's empire, not spooky Sigma, is when all the humans, when they lose all their men in their battles against Chaos, they just ship them off to spooky Sigma's empire.
And that's special lore from the lore book 27 in the book made in 1946 that only a few people know. It's old lore, and no one really knows about that.
Yeah,
but that's why
they have so many skeletons.
Exactly, and that's why in Warhammer 2, when you make a trade agreement with the Tomb King, you automatically ship your dead bodies because you see the dead bodies popping up on your screen from battles. They automatically ship to the Tomb Kings.
And you see, that's why and this is going to be an MLG tip for you Vampire Counts players out there, you're not going to want to trade with Nekahara because you're going to be sending them all of your corpses. Who are you going to resurrect?
That cause inflation.
Absolutely. And they copy and paste your KD for Manfenvar and Karstein, so you really don't want to do that because that'll put them to the top of the leaderboards in COD, and that'll really mess up your race relations with other species.
Absolutely.
So the Lizardman will automatically declare war on you because they call you.
Race relations are already pretty rough in this world.
Yes, very bad. Luckily, little known, the only factions, the two so-called evil factions to really have a steadfast alliance is Skaven and the Tomb Kings. They're actually close allies ever since the end times.
Exactly. And it's also known for a special fact, if you have your Skyrim compatible with your Warhammer 2 in your Steam library, every time you die in Skyrim, a new legendary lord is made into the Tomb Kings.
Based on your character. In fact, I have my my Skyrim character right here.
But this is
now.
Only Skyrim for the Switch.
69 Granddad, right, is his name. And I'm going to kill him right now to demonstrate that, yes, indeed, he is being officially made into canonical lore for the Warhammer Fantasy universe.
And also, did you know that every time you die in Skyrim, they add you to the old lore book made in 1926 for Tomb Kings, and they just sketch it in there. Yes. They have everybody send their book back to headquarters, and they sketch your name in.
Oh, that was a good
my book back.
The GW legal team takes you out. They don't take no prisoners.
Yes, exactly. And that's only for old lore knowers.
Yeah. There's only about seven old lore people in the world, you know.
I tell my mom every day about Chaos Dwarf lore, and she's like, "Oh, Sonny, you're gonna learn more about the Chaos Dwarfs made book in 1826." But I haven't gotten that far in lore. I had to become an expert lore master at that. I make 75K a year just off of reading the books.
You ever read the original Shakespeare codexes back in the 16th century?
Oh, he was great.
Yeah. Now that's the real old lore, you know, like a Tale of Two Carracks, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, you know,
and also, if you guys didn't know, every time my Skyrim character dies, since I have the gun mod on Skyrim, he has 2 AK-47s. So they send him back to old lore and Tomb Kings with an extra 40% range damage.
Yeah, that's really nice how they translate that into the.
I mean, what do you think Cetra serves? Bullets. That's what he serves.
Yes. And my Skyrim player rode a Mitsubishi motorcycle, so now that he has a 400 speed on Warhammer. Now they couldn't port over the vehicle, but they made him like a super horseman. So the super horseman takes him everywhere.
And if you purchase Skyrim Special Edition, which you should, because Todd Howard's like a good man.
Absolutely.
Money. And you die in Special Edition, your Tomb King's Lord will come with a higher graphical fidelity. And if you die on the Skyrim Switch Edition, your Tomb King Lord will be available on Warhammer for Switch.
Exactly.
And make sure that when you're playing Skyrim Platinum Edition coming out next March, that you are wearing MeUndies brand MeUndies. This is not a paid sponsorship, folks.
Yeah.
Now,
yes, exactly.
Now, you guys have to know about this great treachery. Nagash the Necromancer, he basically, first vampire, as I've said.
Warhammer's biggest swindler.
Biggest swindler, and biggest ally of chaos. He is actually a known worshiper of the god Khorne, who is the god of, fertility, growth, the harvest, worshipped in Nekahara.
He produced the Sigmarines.
Absolutely. From his
we're still not sure what they are.
I think they're we're gonna have to do its own separate lore video for that, but they are closely related to Tomb King's lore, so that's gonna be the next video. Everybody keep an eye out for that. Now there had been a rise of this a key factor in the history of the Tomb Kings was the development of the mortuary cult.
Yes.
You guys know about the mortuary cult.
They're anti-undead units.
Absolutely. Basically, they worship the god of death in Nekahara. The I'm so sorry, Mor, aka Mortuary. That's why it's the mortuary cult. And he's very anti-undead. They have a lot of undead units in their army, but I mean, you need anti-undead as well as undead to be balanced. That's just how you have a functioning society.
Because to kill a fire, you put more fire into it.
Exactly, and sometimes your skellies rebel because of the the aspirations and all that shit. They have dreams,
and that's why you have to mummify them.
Sometimes. Exactly.
And it's also a special known secret that you can't fight night battles with Tomb Kings because they gain their life back as they walk through the night. So that's why every spooky skeleton buries themselves 3 feet deep. And that's why when the Empire comes down to the Tomb King's land to dig for oil, if they find a Tomb King at night, he turns into LeBron James.
Yes, you make a great point bringing that up. I wanted to talk about that because we all know, nobody's saying it, but I'm going to be the first here to say it on this program, folks, that the entire reason the Dark Elves, the Empire of Mankind, the Dwarves, the Lizard Men, the only reason why they're in Nekahara is because they're after oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what does oil come from? Oil comes from fossilized skelly bones.
Exactly.
And also, if you guys didn't know, if you go deep into the main code of Total War Warhammer 1, you can see before Call of France, when you first start your game and turn -5, George Bush was the main elector count.
Yes, he started the war. The burning of the Temple of Ulrich in Middenheim, that was completely orchestrated by the elector count George Bush because Middenheim obviously worshipping. This is a tangent. I'm sorry, but this is important political shit. Okay, He planned the destruction of Middenheim because he wanted Wissenland to be more powerful in the Empire, and the Wissenland military-industrial complex, they stood to make a lot of money with the ensuing war against the innocent Tomb Kings.
That made their GMC stock go up at least like 20% after that war.
Absolutely, I saw those numbers. Now, there's been a lot of talk about so-called weapons of mass destruction with Cetra and everything as justification for trying to overthrow him. The main one there's been a lot of talk about, the Black Pyramid. Now, the Black Pyramid was made by Cetra as a architectural gift to his people to support the arts. People claim it's a weapon, but it's just no evidence of that.
Yeah, it's never been seen as a weapon. It's always been just a beacon of the scaly arts and the culture of the Nehekaran people.
Absolutely.
But of course, the empires to come down here and they just see this big black pyramid and all they see is a Scud launcher loaded with anthrax, and then they got to blow it up and dig for oil. Like, it's just
and there's truly something Freudian, I might say myself, about them seeing a big black pyramid, if you know what I mean, and being threatened. Come on, people.
Yes, and also back in old lore, not many people know this except for me and the president of the United States. I sent him a lore book myself, custom made.
Well, he was one of the original writers.
So, if you read from that lore book, you will actually find out that the Black Pyramid was made out of a bunch of Mona Lisas drawn by a 5-year-old black child.
And they want to cover it up.
They want to cover it up.
Because if they found out Imperial Society was based on a bunch of historical paintings done by an African child, there'd be riots in the streets.
There'd be riots in the streets.
The White House would be painted red.
And also, if you didn't know, the White House was actually the Black House when they had Blood Knights able to be recruited there. But ever since the new edition with the Sigmarines, the Blood Knights were too overpowered because the Sigmarines did, so they had to walk around everywhere. And they had to take the bus. So the Blood Knights were overpowered and just speed them down.
Well, since since Blood Knights, Sigmarines, part of the same faction in the game, we're going to be covering them both in the next video. But let's not get off topic here. I want you guys to know about the true deep origins of Nehekara. Do you guys know about Alcatazar the Conqueror?
Yes.
All right. If you can turn to our notes, can either of you tell me a little bit about Alcatazar the Conqueror?
Yes. Let me go to my notes.
I love that sound.
In my book right here, it shows me that Alcatazar was a great general in Civilization 5 before he ported over to Warhammer 2 in a joint deal that they made back in 2004. Now, the reason it was made in 2004 and it was before Civilization 5 was because me and Console of Microtransactions, my co-host here,
absolutely,
in Dresden, were the only players of Civilization 5 on the original Nintendo DS. And we just didn't tell anyone because we were game testing.
It came to Switch.
That was before it came to Switch and before we got $50,000 worth of Robux and Roblox to build a house representing the Black Pyramid.
Yes, and 10 cents worth of Bitcoin, which is now worth $80 million.
Exactly.
We're fat stacks. But yeah, Alcatazar, he was essential to the founding of Tomb Kings. He was the only person in recorded history able to negotiate a nuclear disarmament deal with Mahatma Gandhi.
He also freed the slaves.
He did, but only to turn them into skeletons.
And that's why he starts off his Warhammer 2 campaign with plus 40 diplomatic relations with every colony that was once ruled by George Bush. And he has
every colony.
And a special legendary lord of Harriet Tubman that has a melee expert skill and starts off with 60 melee defense because she didn't do nothing.
Yeah. This, of course, is only on the Switch version of Warhammer Total War.
Exactly. And if you put in code console Dresden Vice, all three of those words put together, you get a 10% discount on all Nintendo Switch microtransactions. if you get approved for the TJ Maxx home credit card, which will give you 5% off at TJ Maxx if you get approved for the Best Buy, 10% off electronics card that will also be working as long as you have direct approval from Barack Obama himself. Just for the Harriet Tubman character, for the exclusiveness of it.
But
Harriet
only the
Tubman.
Switch version of Barack Obama.
Actually, the Barack Obama and Harriet Tubman, the third and fourth pharaohs of the Tomb King armies and empire, respectively.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we've gone over pretty much everything we can go over talking about Tomb Kings. Any speculation for their kind of role in the upcoming DLC?
Well, I think their role will be they won't actually have their armies on the battlefield. They will only have hero units. So most of their armies will consist of at least 5 units of just straight jihadists. And they will have an explosion radius of 400 meters. So probably one could take out 5 units of Empire Knights if they're fully plated. If they actually didn't have any armor, they wouldn't have the extra negative ward save of the flame damage received from the jihadists. But ever since they started with the update from Black Ops 2 for the C4 throne, the fire damage really gets through plate armor. So you really want to have unarmored units. So that's why we're waiting for the Southlands update for Warhammer for the Empire, so that they can get the All Mutals Desert Dogs, so they can run down the jihadists very fast. And I think that's...
So we've gone pretty much over everything that we can. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Console of Microtransactions.
And yes, and this was just a video to introduce all 3 of us and to let you know we may have a new host every time we make a video, but it will be the same lore exactly from the lore books that we've had conscripted to us by Games Workshop itself. And just so you know, I'm a Fortune 500 company member of Games Workshop, and I have nothing to do with the scams they do. As of late, I am the only person that has connections to the Game Boy port version of Warhammer 2. And Dreven,
please buy the Nintendo Switch.
And Dreven is our special guest for today. We might see him almost every video, or we may have a new person or people, but it depends on every video we make. It may be only me or Console or Dreven on his own. And we will all have our links in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. It could just be empty air.
Sometimes I may just show you my Skyrim gameplay of my character standing in a tent for 30 minutes, and you would just have to make up the lore yourself and just have the ambiance of the video for you to have your own sound.
That's an emergent fan-driven lore, which is that's where the best lore comes from.
You can only do that if you're a real immersive player. You have over 10K hours spent in Skyrim without a shower.
On Switch.
On the Nintendo Switch. And we thank you guys today for the video and for watching. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know in the comment section if you have any lore that's obviously wrong, because we know everything. But just let us know in the comment section anything you want to talk about.
If you want to make a fool of yourself, just disagree with us. All right, have a good night, folks.
Good night, guys. And here's something crazy for you. Whoa!